Chapter 2169. The past life 94D Ming left after saying these. He did not look at Mu Qingya again. Mu Qingya sighed in relief. Her body was a little weak, and she fell to the ground. Her face was pale. No one knew how stressed she was when threatening Di Ming. Was it possible that the only person in this world who could make Di Ming treat her gently was Little Nine? Mu Qingya lowered her gaze, hiding the coldness under her eyes, but it disappeared quickly. She stood up again from the ground and walked to the backyard. From a distance, she saw Princess Qingluo, who was waiting for her. Princess Qingluo's eyes lit up. She hurried toward her. "How did it go?" Mu Qingya smiled and nodded. "Mother, Master Di said that he would talk to the guards guarding the door. He said that all is well, and we will be able to go out." Qingluo seemed even more delighted. Even Mu Yi on the side was quietly relieved. This matter would be much better with Master Di's help. Master Di refused to see you before. Then, why did he see you now? Mu Yi asked with some hesitation. Mu Qingjia's face stiffened, but soon she recovered and smiled faintly. Master Di was probably angry with me at first. We told others that I was his future wife without asking him. Now he's not angry anymore, and he is willing to see me. She was never going to let her father know that it was because she had threatened Master Di. Mu Yi did not think too much about it. He nodded and said, "That's good. However, Sima Yin helped Dongfang you, and the Emperor trusts Sima Yin. So, you must not go to see that girl during this time, and do not go to Little Nine again. Otherwise, the Emperor will be angry again." When Little Nine's name was mentioned, Princess Qingluo's face sank again, and there was slight displeasure in her eyes, but this time she did not say anything. Her father indeed did not want her to go and meet Little Nine, but if she did not drive Little Nine away, she would feel uneasy. What if Little Nine had made mistakes? Father also had to punish her, but why did Mu Yi even let her be? Me for extra chapters. A cold light flashed in Princess Qingluo's eyes, and she laughed silently. She had allowed Little Nine to leave, but Little Nine did not cherish it. She would never let her go again, and Little Nine could not blame her for this. Princess Qingluo held Mu Qingjia's hand and smiled. "Qingya, you must have strained yourself during this time. Now that we can leave the manor at any time, there is no need to worry too much. You should go back with me first and have a good rest." "All right." Mu Qingya smiled faintly. There was a hint of fatigue in that smile. Mu Yi felt somewhat guilty. It was all because of him that his daughter had to suffer. If only Little Nine did not come back. If she had not come back, maybe all of this would not have happened. Mu Yi knew that he should not have such thoughts, but looking at Mu Qingya being so tired, he was even more heartbroken. Not to mention that even the Emperor had misunderstood the people in the Emperor's son-in-law's manner. He owed so much to Little Nine. He could compensate her in other ways, as long as she stopped causing trouble. Chapter 2170. The past life 95. Mu Yi sighed and smiled bitterly. He then turned around and walked toward the study room. After that, Qingluo pulled Mu Qingya back to her room. She closed the door and sat down, asking her in softly, "Qingya, after you are released, will you go to find Little Nine?" Mu Qingya froze and nodded slightly. "Well, I do want to meet her. Qingya, you don't know what kind of life the Mu family had in the past, but I know exactly." Qingluo sneered. "Her husband drove your grandmother out, and that Mu family used to have many family members. Old Lady Mu has no status at all, not to mention Little Nine and her mother. The Mu family does not accept them, and Old Lady Mu does not like them. Old Lady Mu was repudiated before she changed her son's surname to Mu and went back to the Mu family. However, the Mu family did not accept her until later. After Qingluo married Mu Yi, only then did Old Lady Mu get the support. When Little Nine and her mother were here, they lived a poor life. The poverty they had suffered was unimaginable. Her mother only wanted your father's money. Do you think these people would leave so easily?" Qingluo smiled coldly. "Impossible. She has come and will not leave so easily. So you must drive her away." Mu Qingya trembled and lowered her gaze. "Mother, it's all my fault. I thought that if I let her go, our family would be at peace. I never thought about the other consequence. I never thought that there are still people in this world who are so greedy for power and wealth. Qingya, you are too naive. How would you know that people are greedy? Qing Luo laughed sarcastically. So, if she's not willing to go, don't blame me for being rude. Mother, what do you want to do? Mu Qingjia's heart skipped a beat, biting her lip, and there was a slight excitement in her eyes. Qing Luo gripped the teacup hard, smiled coldly, and said, I will make her want to leave, but can no longer leave. A cold light flashed in her eyes, and the coldness increased. It was the first time Mu Qingya saw this kind of expression on Princess Qing Luo, so it was obvious that little Nine's existence was much of a threat to them. Mother, then, what should we do? Princess Qing Luo did not answer her. She lowered her gaze and smirked. Me for extra chapters. As for what Princess Qing Luo and Mu Qingya were thinking in their hearts, the Ninth Emperor knew nothing about it, and probably would not care too much even if she knew. To her, these people were not worthy of her attention. The emperor in the palace knew even less, and because of Di Ming's ignorance, he actually let them out. Everyone in the world knew how powerful Di Ming was in Fengyun Kingdom. In the past, Di Ming had stayed in this kingdom for little Nine. Later, to keep Di Ming, the emperor announced to the world that Di Ming would have absolute power to do whatever he wanted and did not even need to ask the emperor's permission. Thus, with that order from Di Ming, the guards did not dare to stop Mu Qingya and quickly let them out without even reporting to the emperor. Chapter 2171. The Past Life 96. After all, this was what the emperor once said, so they did not need to come to report to him. These days, the Ninth Emperor had been enjoying rare peace. With the formation she set, no one came to bother her again. Di Ming perhaps was heartbroken with her last time, so surprisingly, he did not appear again in front of her. When she returned to Fengyun Kingdom, she knew that she would meet Di Ming, so she had long been prepared to deal with him. It was impossible to have any personal feelings for him. Even if her mother was not involved, she had no feelings for Di Ming. The Ninth Emperor leaned lazily in her pavilion. She looked up and saw a young man not far away. His silver hair was like a charm, handsome and picturesque. He looked as adorable as a puppy, pleasing to the eye. Changfeng, she slowly called out the young man's name. The young man looked sideways. A smile appeared upon his handsome face. Ninth Emperor, did you call me? Yes. The Ninth Emperor tilted her head and looked at him with a smile. Nan Changfeng, you look so good. I'm scared that I will force you to sleep with me one day. Nan Changfeng smiled warmly. I won't resist. Why? Because I can't beat you, and I only have the strength to keep myself alive. I can't resist anyway. Besides, he was looking forward to that day. The Ninth Emperor stood up and laughed. Her dress was blood red, fierce and domineering. She slowly walked up to Nan Changfeng and stood close to him, so close that she could feel his breath. Her red dress and the young man's white dress intertwined, so beautiful like a painting. What if, she narrowed her eyes, and she gently touched the young man's cheek, smilingly. I sleep with you, and I don't want to take responsibility. The young man's voice was like the wind, warm as spring. Then, I will follow you everywhere and make you take responsibility. The Ninth Emperor was speechless. Her future would be gone if she really could not control herself one day. Me for extra chapters. There were so many beauties in this world, so why should she hang on to a man? Just when the Ninth Emperor was about to continue speaking, Di Ming came again. Her face suddenly sank, and the smile she had earlier disappeared. It seemed that this time, she must change the formation, at least to keep Di Ming away. Di Ming also did not know why he had to see such a disgusting scene when he came to see her. He still approached her, enduring the pain in his heart. He glanced at Nan Changfeng coldly and turned to Little Nine. He then smiled and slowly walked toward her. Little Nine, you're still not going to care about me? Then, when will you be willing to pay attention to me? The man's voice was filled with resignation and some pain. The Ninth Emperor pursed her lips as she stood by Nan Changfeng's side, looking at the man indifferently. I'm not ignoring you. I have Changfeng, and it's not too good to get too close to you. Nan Chongfeng reached out and pulled the ninth emperor into his arms. He smiled and stared at her affectionately. Chapter 2172. The Past Life 97D. Ming's heart ached. He clenched his fists tightly, restraining that pain. Little Nine, he opened his mouth slowly. If I have lied to you about something, can you forgive me? Lied to me? The ninth emperor laughed silently. I will forgive you. Seriously? Well, I will not be angry with an unimportant person unless you have done something to hurt my loved ones. As for the rest, I can forgive you. I will not be angry with an unimportant person. Ming's heart felt like it had been hit, and the pain was somewhat unbearable. He closed his eyes slowly, suppressing the pain inside, before gradually opening them back. His handsome face looked calm. However, those eyes contained a deep pain that could not be suppressed. I know, Little Nine. I won't give up on you. He had liked her for so many years. He had waited and searched for her for so many years. There was no way he would let go of her. Ming looked at the ninth emperor before turning around and leaving. His purple robe lifted in the wind. He had come and gone in a hurry and soon disappeared from the ninth emperor's line of sight. The ninth emperor turned her gaze back, smiling at the young man next to her. The young man with silver hair was the beauty that made her heart skip a beat. Both stood silently next to each other. However, suddenly, a voice spoke from behind them, breaking the silence. Ninth Emperor, the wolf girl, Tian Xian, came from behind, and she hummed after looking at the young man standing behind the ninth emperor. She felt that the ninth emperor had been ignoring them since she met Nan Chongfeng. She had changed. What's wrong? She turned to Tian Xian and asked. Tian Xian pursed her lips. Earlier, they came to say that they have had enough of playing outside, so they plan to go back to Cloud Mountain. Ninth Emperor, when can we go back? This outside world was not as good as they thought it would be, especially when there were always people pestering the ninth emperor. That so-called emperor's son-in-laws, and so was Sima Yan. Besides, there was already Nan Chongfeng, and now there was Ming. Me for extra chapters. She did not know how many more people would come to bother the ninth emperor in the future. The more she thought about it, the more aggrieved she was. She almost cried. Her eyes were teary, and her gaze was flooded with aggression. The ninth emperor turned to Nan Chongfeng. Tian Xian is probably hungry. Go and make something to eat. All right, Nan Chongfeng smiled faintly. Of course, he would only cook for the ninth emperor alone. As for the food for Tian Xian, Qing Zhu would prepare it. Ninth emperor Tian Xian pursed her lips and wanted to speak, but she did not know how to say them when the words came to her mouth. The ninth emperor soothingly patted Tian Xian's shoulder and sighed. If you're hungry, just say it. There's no need to be so shy. Tian Xian lowered her head and did not speak more. By the way, the ninth emperor frowned. Mu-Yi and those people have not come by recently, right? Mu-Yi had not bothered her for a long time, so she could not help but think if they played some sinister game again. However, no matter what ideas Mu-Yi was playing, it no longer had anything to do with her. Tian Xian shook her head. Not sure. It seems like he was grounded. Chapter 2173. The Past Life 98-inch. Oh, the ninth emperor nodded. No wonder they did not come to disturb us again. I guess Sima Yan complained to the old emperor, so they did not let them out. Although the people of this emperor's son-in-law's manor cannot hurt me, without them coming to disturb me, it is indeed more peaceful. She stretched her body lazily. Let's go. It's still early. You can accompany me out for a walk. All right. Tian Xian saw that Nan Chongfeng had already gone to the kitchen, so the ninth emperor only had her to ask for a company. A bright smile bloomed upon her face as her eyes lit up. In the imperial city of Fengyun Kingdom, the people were all in order and busy with their work. No one would stop for the unimportant people on the street, until the appearance of a stunning figure that attracted the people. Everyone was staring at her. The woman's smile was beautiful, and she looked like a painting. The servant next to her was also beautiful. She looked adorable and was more beautiful than Fengyun Kingdom's beauty, noble lady Mu Qingya. Someone among the crowd knew the ninth emperor and was quite surprised. I know her. I saw her when I was in the restaurant before. She is little 9 of the emperor's son-in-law's manor. The once daughter of the emperor's son-in-law? I heard that Princess Qingluo personally came to he and wanted her to go back to the emperor's son-in-law's manor, but she refused. Even Qingya, noble lady, was driven out by her. This little 9 may look beautiful, but her heart is somewhat vicious. I don't know what the emperor's son-in-law is thinking. Such a vicious daughter will mess up the family, but he still tried every way to get her home. The crowd sighed and looked at the ninth emperor and sneered. Tianxian turned to the group. As expected, seeing Tianxian's fierce gaze made the people shut their mouths. However, the contempt in their eyes was still so obvious that it was like a thorn. Tianxian, the ninth emperor, spoke indifferently. There's no need to care about these people. They're just a group of ordinary folk. Tianxian's face darkened, but she still withdrew her gaze with some resentment in her heart because of the ninth emperor's words. But I just can't stand others saying a bad word about you. If it weren't for you, if it were not for the ninth emperor, this world would not have been so peaceful. The world had regained peace, and the bullies had no place on this mainland. Me for extra chapters. Back then, killing was a frequent occurrence. Until the ninth emperor appeared, she used her strength to restrict those strong men so that they were no longer allowed to bully ordinary people in exchange for the peace of this mainland. But these people were humiliating the ninth emperor now. It was tough for her to tolerate that. The ninth emperor smiled, but did not think much. They know nothing. There's a saying that one who does not know is not a crime, so, you were a little 9? Suddenly, someone up ahead asked. The ninth emperor looked up and immediately saw a young girl blocking her way with her chin raised. I heard that it was you who bullied my cousin Qingya. Cousin? Mu Qingjia's cousin? The imperial family? You are. She looked blankly at the young girl in front of her. The young girl was so beautiful. She looked innocent, like a white paper, making people want to protect her. I am the young lady of Prince Min's manor. Prince Min was the younger brother of the current emperor. There had always been no resentment between the emperor and him. He ruled the imperial city, and the emperor gave freedom to go out as he wished. This little girl should be Prince Min's little granddaughter. She called Mu Qingya cousin, so the ninth emperor quickly understood the relationship. A smile grew upon her face. Lu Lan stared at the ninth emperor angrily. I heard that you are very arrogant these days and dare to hurt Qingya. Who do you think you are? I know you hate Qingya because she can live in the emperor's son-in-law's manor, and you can only live outside, but you must think about your status. The emperor's son-in-law's manor is my cousin's home and not your home. Without them, you are nothing. The little girl was furious. Her face darkened. Moreover, my cousin wanted to take you to the manor before, but why did you treat her like this? You told my cousin to get out of the manor and said that the emperor's son-in-law's manor could only have you as if you're the only young lady who deserves to live in that Mu family. Tianxian was stunned. Without thinking much, even she knew that those were Mu Qingjia's words. What kind of person could be so shameless to such an extent? It was really dumbfounding that even such a lie could be fabricated. But the next second, the ninth emperor had already moved her hands. No, it should be moving her feet. She kicked Lu Lan viciously, and the little girl's body was flung into the air before it landed on the ground in a mess. Tianxian was speechless. Didn't she say that these were ordinary people? Didn't she say that those who don't know are not guilty? Tianxian was somewhat dumbfounded. She turned to the ninth emperor, confused. But the ninth emperor herself could not bear to make a move. But Tianxian felt pity. Such a person should be beaten hard. What you did not know was not a crime. That was simply a lie. Me for extra chapters. Knowing nothing meant being stupid, and there was a price to stupidity. The little girl straightened up. She wanted to speak, but in between her words, she spurted out a mouthful of blood. She fell back to the ground and fainted. The crowd suddenly fell silent. They were so frightened that they didn't even blink, and even the breathing was a little difficult, did. Little 9 of the emperor's son-in-law's manor just hit and killed young Lady Lu? Oh no, little 9 has killed Lu Lan. Run quickly, lest you'll be implicated. The crowd was shocked, hurriedly trying to escape from the area, afraid of accidentally being involved. After all, there were risks to stay and watch the drama here. Only a few bold ones were still here, wanting to know what kind of punishment this little nine would receive. They did not know if it was a coincidence or not. After Lu Lan fainted on the ground, the people of the emperor's son-in-law's manor hurriedly rushed over. The person heading the group was no other than Mu Yi. The ninth emperor raised her eyebrows. She did not expect that Mu Yi would come here. Was he not grounded? So what was happening now? Chapter 2175. The Past Life 100. Mu Yi came just as Lu Lan suddenly fainted. Someone must have set this up. As expected, soon after Mu Yi arrived, the people of Prince Min's manor also came after hearing the news. Even Mu Qingya and Princess Qing Luo followed Prince Min's manor's army and instantly surrounded the entire street. The ninth emperor smiled even more. She wrapped her hand around her chest smilingly, looking at Mu Qingya, who was following Prince Min. Her eyes were clear, making Mu Qingya's heart tremble, but soon she calmed down and pursed her lips. Arg! An angry and sad voice sounded. Prince Min swiftly rushed toward Lu Lan and picked her up. He turned to the ninth emperor, his eyes bloodshot. Who has allowed you to touch my granddaughter? Mu Yi saw the rushing Prince Min. He closed his eyes with some despair. Prince Min was not like a normal prince. His relationship with the emperor had always been good. Therefore, he had many soldiers and horses in his command, which were given to him by the emperor. If little Nine hurt Prince Min's granddaughter, then there was no way for him to protect her. Mu Yi's gaze lowered, seemingly in pain, and his heart was trembling. He did not understand why little Nine had to do so. She would kill people just because of few words? When did she become so cruel to the point that he cannot believe it? The ninth emperor shrugged and smiled. You should ask her what she ate before coming to me. How dare you? Prince Min was furious and shouted. You mean to say that my granddaughter wanted to commit suicide, so she drank poison before she came to you to frame you? What else could it be? The ninth emperor smiled. Of course. Maybe someone wanted to kill her and frame me for it. She was constantly smiling. Her smile was like a thorn, viciously stabbing Prince Min's heart. This woman had killed his granddaughter, and now she was not only not remorseful, but she could still laugh. However, he took a deep breath, suppressed the anger pouring from his heart, and asked the physician who had just checked on Lu Lan. Me for extra chapters. What happened to my granddaughter? This physician was from the Mu family. Mu Yi had heard that little Nine was out brutalizing others, so he had hurriedly summoned the physician over, wanting to clean up her mess. After all, little Nine was his daughter, and he felt guilty and did not want her to make any mistakes here. However, who would have thought that the person little Nine hurt would be the young lady of the Prince Min's manor? Prince Min had always loved his granddaughter, so how could he let her go? Mu Yi's eyes were filled with even more grief as he looked at the ninth emperor in disbelief and disappointment. This was a mistake that little Nine made on her own. He cannot allow little Nine's fault be scourged at Qingya. If little Nine did not admit it, Prince Min would undoubtedly look for the emperor's son-in-law's manor to settle it. Now, not only Princess Qing Luo would lose favor, but even Qingya would also lose the imperial favor. Prince Min's manor had been a powerful opponent. Therefore, for the emperor's son-in-law's manor, Qing Luo, and Qingjia's sake, this blame could only be placed on little Nine for her to take the responsibility. Moreover, she caused this problem. She had grown up and should be responsible for what she did. If Lu Lan could be saved, he would also find a way to save little Nine. Chapter 2176. The Past Life 101. He could not protect her this time. Mu Yi's heart felt like it was stabbed by a sword. It was painful, but he was helpless. The physician subconsciously looked at Mu Qingya standing behind Prince Min before turning to Prince Min and said in a deep voice, "Young lady has been fatally struck. I'm afraid that she can't be saved." She can't be saved? Prince Min was shocked. His hands trembled a little as he held Lu Lan's arms. Tears of grief flowed down his weathered face. He had many sons and grandsons, but he only had one granddaughter. He loved her and favored her and never allowed her to suffer even a little bit of harm. But now, she was killed. A wave of anger surged into his heart with monstrous, murderous intent. He looked at little Nine coldly. "You have hurt my granddaughter. You must pay the price. I will make your life worse than death." Prince Mint's eyes were bloodshot, and his voice was a little hoarse as if he was using all his strength to shout that. The ninth emperor's smile did not waver even once, except for the coldness that was slowly seeping into her black eyes. "How do you know that she will die?" Prince Min stood up with Lu Lan's body in his arms and said furiously, "You still want to defend yourself now? Mu-Yi, today I will kill this daughter of yours. Do you have a problem with that?" After all, Mu-Yi was the emperor's son-in-law, and Prince Min still had to respect him by asking him this question. But it did not mean that he would let little Nine go. Little Nine must die. She had to use her death to pay for life. A bloody debt could only be paid with blood. Mu-Yi trembled. His face turned pale. He looked at little Nine and said shakily, "Little Nine, why? Why do you have to do this?" He did not understand why little Nine had to do such a thing. Me for extra chapters. In the past, she was very kind, but now she had become so vicious that he did not dare to say that she was his daughter. Without waiting for little Nine to speak, Mu Qingya was already standing in front of her, and there was determination in her gaze. "Prince Min, let me take the blame. It was because of my mother and me that sister left home angrily back then. She grew up without anyone to discipline her, and has become this vicious as a result. But no matter what my sister has done to me, I can't let her die without doing nothing. Prince Min, I will use my life to pay for cousin Lu Lan's life. Spare my sister. She has suffered too much in this life. How can I bear to see her like this?" Mu Qingya closed her eyes in grief, her voice shaking but with an unquestionable choice. All the people had heard Mu Qingya's words and could not help but feel their hearts ache for their noble lady. Little Nine has treated her badly, but she still repays her grievances with virtue and uses her own life to protect her. This is our noble lady of Feng Yun Kingdom, kind and gentle, treating the people like her children, unlike little Nine, who does not even care about others' lives. If she dares to kill even Prince Mint's granddaughter, she wouldn't spare us, the commoners. Mu-Yi, kill this demonic girl immediately. That's right, letting this kind of demonic girl stay in this kingdom will only cause trouble for the world. She has too little regard for life, and we do not want the existence of such a demonic girl. What's more, she also did countless things that harmed Qingya before. You can't risk noble lattice safety for this demon girl. Who knows how many lives would be extinguished in her hands? Mu-Yi was stunned, and his body trembled a little. He closed his eyes in deep pain. It was a difficult time to make a decision. A few seconds later, he opened his eyes, and he finally made that decision. "Qingya, this matter has nothing to do with you. Come back to me. Little Nine, she has grown up. She knows what she is doing, and she must take responsibility for herself. So, how can you bear all of this for her?" Between little Nine and Qingya, his choice would still be Qingya. Perhaps it was because one grew up around him while the other left him since childhood. Based on his feelings, it was certainly not as deep as Mu Qingya. His feelings for Mu Qingya were more deeply in his heart. At first, he was nice to her out of guilt, but that guilt could not compare to his love for Mu Qingya. Truthfully, this matter was caused by little Nine herself, and she must take responsibility for her actions. He did not know if it was because he felt ashamed of little Nine that his eyes had always been between Prince Min and Mu Qingya and not exactly looking at little Nine. The ninth emperor might also have known Mu-Yi's choice, so her expression remained calm. Only Tianxian was somewhat heartbroken. She felt pity for her master. If the others did not believe in her, it did not matter. But Mu-Yi was her father, yet he did not trust her. He even abandoned her. Even a tiger would still protect its child. "Master," Tianxian pursed her lips and wanted to say something, but there was no way to open her mouth to comfort her. On the contrary, The ninth emperor raised her hand and patted Tian Xian's head, smiling comfortingly. It's all right. I was alone before, and I will always be alone in the future. Somehow, the ninth emperor's words made Mu Yi's heart ache, and his face turned even paler. With grief upon his face, he finally glanced at her. Me for extra chapters. However, the ninth emperor did not look at him again. She smiled faintly, and her eyes were as calm as water, emotionless. It seemed that there were no longer any words that could move her. It was as if in her heart, he was a stranger. Mu Yi also understood that he caused her to behave this way today. In the future, he would no longer have the guts to see her. After all, this was his choice. Since Mu Yi has said so, I will leave this girl's dead body whole later. Prince Min's heart surged with anger. He handed Lu Lan, who was in his arms, to the servant next to him and then walked toward the ninth emperor. His aura was like the sea, causing it difficult for those around him to breathe. Even Mu Yi's breathing grew heavy with an oppressive aura. He was somewhat shocked. Prince Min's strength has increased again. Fortunately, he had no intention to rule this kingdom. Otherwise, he could easily defeat the emperor with this strength. If Little Nine had provoked another person, Mu Yi could still have a way to protect her. But this was Prince Min. Chapter 2178. The Past Life 103. So, Little Nine, I'm sorry. I really have no choice. I can't let Qingya and Qing Luo suffer just to save you. Mu Yi turned around. He could no longer bear to see this cruel and bloody scene. He thought that when Prince Min attacked, no one could stop him. Until a voice filled with monstrous anger suddenly came from the side, making him stiff. Stop! Prince Min stopped abruptly. He turned and saw a middle-aged man rushing toward him anxiously. Prince Min, what are you doing? Prince Min's face was cold. This woman killed my granddaughter, so I want to kill her to avenge my granddaughter. Does General Sima want to stop me? It seems that the people from the Emperor's son-in-law's manor are right. Do you have an affair with this woman's servant? Servant? Is this guy referring to Dongfang Yu? Dongfang Yu has an affair with this old man? She snorted and laughed. If this old man did not stop this man, perhaps this so-called civil prince would be now lying on the ground, unable to say a word anymore. What are you babbling about? Sima Yan's eyes were filled with anger. Maiden Mu is not that kind of person. Even if she has killed young Lady Lu Lan, it must be young Ladda's fault. Maiden Mu wouldn't just kill someone without any reason. He remembered all the rumors about the ninth emperor over the years, and the ones she had killed were all evil people who were bullying others. However, he was more convinced that there was a misunderstanding. Young Lady Lu Lan was arrogant, but still considered a kind person. She would not do evil things. The ninth emperor would not kill her, at most just giving her a lesson. As for the accidental killing, that was even more unlikely. What kind of person was the ninth emperor? What kind of strength did she have? How did she kill others by mistake? Even if she faced those who were full of evil, if she did not want people to die, she would have 1,000 ways to make people's lives worse than death. What do you mean? Prince Min's anger surged. He gritted his teeth tightly. What do you mean it was my granddaughter who made a mistake? Sima Yin, this is too much. I don't care if you have the emperor backing you up or have others help you, but today, you and this woman should pay the price. The reason Little Nine dared to be so arrogant was that she had Sima Yin protecting her. Me for extra chapters. Due to Sima Yan's support, she had dared to be so reckless and kill his granddaughter. Therefore, Little Nine must die, and Sima Yin must also pay the price. Qing Luo and Mu Qingjia's hearts were full of joy. They were still worried about settling Sima Yin before, but they did not expect Sima Yin to come out and anger Prince Min more. It seemed that he did not even care about his life today, just for Little Nine. He had such a downfall because he asked for it. Mu Qingya was quietly relieved. She smiled happily, but she quickly covered it, afraid of being discovered by others. Prince Min's eyes were bloodshot, filled with a wave of monstrous anger that could bring down the sky and shatter the earth, scaring the crowd. Sima Yin, however, was undaunted. He looked at Prince Min calmly. Maiden Mu would not hurt others without reason. His words shocked Prince Min even more. Whatever the reason is, I must kill this demonic girl today. In a flash, he approached the Ninth Emperor. The Ninth Emperor raised her hand. Her face was expressionless, and her black eyes were even calmer. Suddenly, Sima Yin stood in front of the Ninth Emperor, and boom. His fist and Prince Min's fist collided in the air. Both were pushed backward. Prince Min spurted out blood, and Sima Yan's hair became messy. Prince Min stiffly suppressed his anger and looked at Sima Yan with eyes filled with murderous intent. He only wanted to teach little Nine a lesson earlier. He had had enough of this old man, Sima Yan, but he did not know what was good and evil. So, he was also bound to die. No one could stop him. Sima Yan sneered. Do you know that I saved your life just now? If it weren't for me, you would have died long ago. The person behind him was the Ninth Emperor. Even though the Ninth Emperor only killed vicious people, whenever someone dared to make a move against her, she would not let any of them go. If not for him, this bastard would have been dead long ago, but he was still screaming at him here? Ridiculous. Prince Min laughed loudly, and that laugh was filled with anger. It seems that you are determined to do so, yet you still have the nerve to say these words. Sima Yin, I will report all things that happened today to my brother. You protect the murderer of the imperial family member, and you should be punished. Cold sweats flowed down Sima Yan's forehead. It was true that those who did not know were not afraid. If he had not stopped him just now, Prince Min and all his people would be lying on the ground now. But he was still so arrogant, not taking his words seriously. He looked at Princess Qingluo and the others coldly. The emperor had confined them. Why could they still come out? Did the group of people who guarded the emperor's son-in-law's manor neglect their duties and let these people out? Prince Min coming to look for little Nine today must also be related to these people. It seemed that Princess Qingluo still did not know how to repent and was acting even more excessively now. However, the most important thing was to deal with Prince Min first. After all, the emperor was still very fond of his brother, so he would not stay silent if something terrible happened to Prince Min. Me for extra chapters. Prince Min, what I just said is the truth. Maiden Mu, this time before Sima Yin could finish his words, someone had reached over to him from the side and pushed him hard to the ground. He stood up from the ground and looked up to meet a pair of a young girl's cold eyes. The Ninth Emperor was expressionless as she walked toward Prince Min. Prince Min sneered and raised his long sword again. However, this time, the Ninth Emperor did not make any move. Just as Prince Min's sword was about to fall in front of her eyes, Tian Xian, who was on the side, moved and stood before the Ninth Emperor, holding Prince Min's sword with just 2 fingers. Prince Min's face changed dramatically. He put in more strength, but the sword could not be moved. Even when he wanted to draw his sword, he could not draw it back. His eyes were full of shock as he stared hard at Tian Xian. His eyes reddened. How could this be? Chapter 2180. The Past Life 105. This servant. How is she so powerful? Prince Min's heart trembled, and his gaze was filled with resentment and anger. He felt powerless. He was powerless to avenge his granddaughter. This fact hurt him to the core. His gaze was filled with despair. After seeing this scene, Sima Yin could not help but shake his head. He then smiled bitterly. Anyone around the Ninth Emperor could easily defeat him, let alone the Ninth Emperor? Up until now, this group of people had not realized that this girl in front of them was a terrifying woman. The Ninth Emperor did not even glance at Prince Min as she slowly walked toward the servant holding Lulan. As she approached Lulan, the servant stepped backward, her face paled as she panicked. The surrounding guards all drew their swords and pointed them at the Ninth Emperor. There was no wind around, but the Ninth Emperor's red dress was swaying and moving with her hips. Her aura was strong, so strong that the guards did not have the strength to take a step forward. They wanted to shout out loud, but even their strength to speak had disappeared, and their eyes were filled with fear. They could only watch as she walked toward Lulan. Stop! Prince Mint's eyes grew even redder. This woman, it was not enough that she had killed his granddaughter. Now she wanted to bully his granddaughter right in front of him. This was intolerable. Yet, he wanted to stop the Ninth Emperor, but he was blocked by Tian Xian and unable to go to Lulan's side. He trembled with anger. "Little Nine, if you dare to touch my granddaughter even a little bit again, I will make sure you die without a burial place." He was also stunned. He didn't know what Little Nine was going to do, let alone why the servant by Little Nine's side was so powerful. However, Prince Min was the king of this city. No one could provoke him. Therefore, he was feeling a little anxious, and he hurriedly said, "Little Nine, come back quickly. Lulan is dying. Can you not even let her go? When did you become so vicious? You were not like this before." Tian Xian laughed coldly. Look, this was the Ninth Emperor's father. He accused her before knowing what the Ninth Emperor would do, not giving her any chance to explain. Me for extra chapters. He even called her vicious. A person who did not even understand his daughter. Does he deserve to be a father? Whether it was the Ninth Emperor or Mu Qingya, he had not tried to understand his daughters. The Ninth Emperor had not said anything to them and did not even mention her family history. They had thought that the Ninth Emperor was so outstanding, so perfect, and so strong that she would indeed have a family that loved her so much. It was just that she had never returned home, or perhaps those people had mistaken. However, they never thought that the powerful Ninth Emperor would have a father like this. It was disappointing. Fortunately, the Ninth Emperor now had them. Although she did not like Nan Chongfeng, seeing Nan Chongfeng had given the Ninth Emperor a taste of loyalty that was not like her father, the Ninth Emperor would surely not be alone. Perhaps thinking about this, Tian Xian's mood was better, but she still looked at Mu Yi with disdain and anger. Chapter 2181. The Past Life 106-inch. What are you guys standing there for? Stop her. Prince Min's eyes became even more bloodshot, especially when he saw that the guards did not move. He became even more furious. His anger poured like a flood. He could not even control it. Those guards could not say anything. Not only could they not move, but they also could not even say a word as their eyes were filled with horror. Seeing Little Nine walking toward Lulan, Prince Min's heart became more anxious as he turned to Mu Yi again. "Mu Yi, you must make her stop immediately. Otherwise, I will make your emperor's son-in-law's house disappear from this world as well." He shouted with endless anger and grief. Mu Yi's face turned pale, and just as he opened his mouth, Sima Yin turned coldly to Mu Yi. "I advise you to better not say anything. Otherwise, you will live the rest of your life in regret. Otherwise, you will live the rest of your life in regret." Mu Yi closed his eyes sorrowfully. Sima Yin was right. He would regret it because he was already regretting it right now. If he had listened to his mother and made Little Nine leave Fengyun Kingdom, it would not have become like this. However, he still wanted Little Nine to come back. If I could turn back time, Mu Yi opened his eyes. I would have made Little Nine leave and not let her stay here. That way, nothing would have happened to her, and nothing would have happened to Lulan. No one would have put the Emperor's son-in-law's manor in such a difficult position. In the end, it was all because I felt I owed her too much before and wanted to make amends, so I wasn't decisive enough. I was not decisive enough. From Little Nine targeting Mu Qingya, he could tell what kind of person Little Nine was, but in the end, he was still soft-hearted. He instead ignored the fact that she had a vicious character. In the end, it caused an irreparable fault. So, Little Nine, please do not make one mistake after another. I know you do not like the Mu family and do not want to go back with me, but you must think about yourself. No matter how strong that servant is by your side, there are still many skilled masters in Fengyun Kingdom. If you continue to do it, I am afraid that your end will be very miserable. This was his last warning to his daughter as a father. He hoped she could repent and not make the same mistake again. The Ninth Emperor acted as if she did not hear his words. She raised her hand and snatched Lulan from the servant's arms. Without mercy, she threw her to the ground. The back of Lulan's head landed on the ground with a thud, as clear as a bell, and it made Prince Min's eyes even redder. He gritted his teeth. Little Nine, stop it in the name of the Emperor. The Ninth Emperor acted as if she could not even hear the words. She twisted the cap off a bottle and fed it to Lulan. Me for extra chapters. Prince Mint's body trembled with anger. Little Nine had killed Laner, and now she wanted to poison her? But in the very next moment, Lu Lan, who was still lying on the ground, gradually opened her eyes. The back of her head was hurting, and she frowned in pain. The whole street was quiet. Prince Mint's eyes widened as he stared incredulously at Lu Lan, who sat up from the ground in dismay. Princess Qingluo and her daughter froze. Impossible. How can Lu Lan still be alive? The poison they had given to Lu Lan was strong, the kind that would surely kill her. However, they did not know when Lu Lan could find Little Nine. So, it was a fast-acting poison. It was a poison that reacted slowly. Chapter 2182. The past life 107. Seeing that the time was almost over, they knew that she would die later. But why? Why did she wake up again? Mu Qingjia's face flashed with panic as she bit her lips hard. No, even if she woke up, no one will know that we have poisoned her. They will say that Little Nine saved Lu Lan to save her own life. That's all. It's a pity that this Little Nine still escaped this calamity. People like her deserve to die. She took a deep breath and looked at the Ninth Emperor with hatred in her gaze. However, at this moment, the Ninth Emperor did not even look at her and directly dragged Lu Lan up from the ground. Yes, she dragged her up, tugging on the lapels without a hint of gentleness. However, perhaps because of the shock and surprise from watching Lu Lan wake up, Prince Min did not notice anything wrong with Little Nine's current behavior. After a few minutes later, Lu Lan regained her senses and shouted angrily, "Little Nine, how dare you hurt me?" It seems that Qingyao was right. You've been bullying her all these days. Do you think that my cousin is that easy to bully? If cousin Qingyao hadn't come to me and told me that she had suffered so much, I wouldn't have come to settle the score with you. She raised her chin, and her voice was filled with sarcasm. I'll be honest with you. This time, it was Qingyao who asked me to find you. You must go and apologize to her. Admit your mistake and leave Feng Yun Kingdom. Otherwise, I'll have my grandfather tie you up and throw you out. Mu Yi's brain buzzed and stiffened as he turned to look at Mu Qingya. Did Lu Lan say that it was Mu Qingya who told her to find Little Nine? Why? His lips trembled, and his gaze was filled with disbelief. Qingya was well aware of Lu Lan's temper, so why would she ask Lu Lan to come to disturb Little Nine? Little Nine was not a good-tempered person, so how could she not do something to her? Moreover, earlier, Qingya was still making excuses for Little Nine, so why did she ask Lu Lan to come? Mu Qingjia's face was pale, and an imperceptible resentment flashed through her eyes. This Lu Lan was a big-breasted idiot. She had betrayed her. If she were not the granddaughter of Prince Min, who had a mighty strength, she would not use this stupid Lu Lan to deal with Little Nine. Initially, she thought that Lu Lan would die and not expose her, but she did not expect her to come back to life and betray her. After Lu Lan said that, she found that there were already many people around staring at Qingya. Me for extra chapters. Even her grandfather was among them. She froze for a moment. Her face turned pale. She seemed to have exposed her cousin. However, if her grandfather knew that her cousin had asked her to come, would it cause people to misunderstand her cousin? She pursed her lips. "Grandfather, why are you here? I did not mean that Qingya was stirring up trouble. It's just that this Little Nine is too much. She bullies my cousin. Since she is bullying our imperial family, we should teach her a lesson and not let her go so easily." Prince Min trembled in anger. He clenched his fists tightly. He looked up at Mu Qingya and growled, "What did my granddaughter do to you that made you treat her like this?" In this matter, Little Nine was indeed the culprit. However, if Mu Qingya had not asked his granddaughter to come, things would not have escalated to this. Chapter 2183. The Past Life 108, so it's all their fault. These people deserve to die. Grandfather, you can't blame Qingya. I shut up. His voice was filled with suppressed anger. Do you know that you were almost killed by this woman just now? What he said made Lu Lan's face even paler as her eyes were filled with shock. I almost died? Indeed. She remembered that Little Nine kicked her, and then she felt uncomfortable and spurted out a mouthful of blood. Then she lost all consciousness. But why did grandfather say that I almost died? Impossible. I remember that she only kicked me. That won't kill me. Impossible. Lulan shook her head and took a few steps back. Her face was pale. This woman just kicked me once. That kick should not have killed me. She only kicked my chest. I can't be so weak, grandfather. You must be making up random excuses to blame my cousin. Just a kick. Sima Yin frowned. If the ninth emperor wants to kill someone, she bring her back to life again. Moreover, it's impossible for her to kill someone just by kicking them. Although with her strength, it's not impossible to do so. But how is it possible to kick the chest and cause death? Sima Yin hesitated for a moment and turned to the bemused ninth emperor. Maiden Mu, what is going on here? The ninth emperor shrugged. I have said that she was poisoned. Poisoned? Prince Min coldly laughed out loud. Do not think that just because you brought my granddaughter back to life that I will let you off. It is ridiculous to say that she was poisoned. Earlier, the physician has concluded that she was suffering from internal injuries. Perhaps because his granddaughter was still alive, Prince Min's murderous intent seemed to have faded by a lot, but the anger inside him did not diminish at all. Because, since Little Nine had still hurt his granddaughter and almost killed her, she still had to pay the price. Even Mu Qingya must also be punished. However, Mu Qingya would receive lighter punishment, while this Little Nine was deliberately trying to kill a person. What poison? Lulan's brain was still dumbfounded. How could I be poisoned? Are you saying that I took the poison myself to frame you? Although I don't know why you think I'm dying as I'm still alive and well. So I can conclude that I was not poisoned. Lulan harumphed, turned around, and looked at Prince Min. Me for extra chapters. Grandfather. Qingyashi. Laner, don't say anything. No matter what, you almost died today. I won't let anyone who has harmed you go, whether it was unintentional or not. They have to pay the price. Prince Min took a deep breath and calmed his trembling heart. Just the thought of Lu Lan lying half dead on the ground just now made his heart throb fiercely. Fortunately, she did not die. Otherwise, his anger. No one in this world could stop him when he was angry. The ninth emperor saw the panic in Mu Qingjia's eyes and smiled calmly. She ignored Mu Qingyao before because to her, Mu Qingyao was only a weak girl. She did not care about what Mu Qingyao wanted to do to her. However, if this little girl wanted to trap her, then she was not so easily trapped. As for whether she is poisoned or not, the ninth emperor smiled faintly. She turned to the physician on the side. He knows better than anyone else. Chapter 2184. The Past Life 109. The physician froze. His face was pale, and his eyes filled with panic. But still, he gritted his teeth and said, I don't know what you're talking about. Are you sure you don't know? Little Nine sauntered toward the physician. Her calmness scared him. Or, you can't admit it? The physician took a few steps back and looked at Mu Qingya with a pleading gaze. Mu Qingya gritted her teeth and stood out. Sister, you do not need to make things difficult for this physician. Is it fun to bully others? If you don't want to admit it, then I will admit it for you. Lulan, it is my fault. I, alone, am willing to take all the responsibility as long as you do not drag down my family. Is that enough? She looked serious, and her eyes were filled with determination. It made everyone look at her again. Mu Qingjia's sorrowful tears flowed. I know that this is my fault. I shouldn't have gone to my cousin to rant. But these days, I have suffered too much, and I didn't dare to tell my father for fear of making him worried. But I am only human. I am also a normal person who will feel hurt and sad. I want to treat you as my sister, but why do you always target me? Just because your man has taken an interest in me? The crowd was surprised. Before this, everyone did not know why Little Nine targeted Mu Qingya. They did not expect that it was all for a man. Mu Qingya already had a future husband, Di Ming. So how could she possibly fall for Little Nine's man? It must be that the man was making a fool of her, and as a result, Little Nine had grown resentful toward her sister because of a man. A man. The ninth emperor froze for a moment, gazing blankly and looking at Mu Qingya in confusion. Are you talking about Nanchang Feng? Nan Changfeng. The tears in Mu Qingjia's eyes were flowing like rivers. It's him. I don't like him. So why do you have to target me so much? It's him who has taken an interest in me. I didn't seduce him. I was so aggrieved that I approached my cousin to rant, and I asked her to come to you because I wanted to explain to you clearly. I didn't mean anything else, and I never thought you would hurt my cousin. Mu Qingjia's face was filled with deep pain, and there was regret and guilt in her eyes. This made Prince Min freeze, unable to blame her again. He thought that Mu Qingya was deliberately using Laner to get revenge, but he did not expect that she was afraid that little Nine would get even angrier after seeing her, so she had asked Laner to help. However, Laner misunderstood her and went to find little Nine to settle scores, which led to this. Me for extra chapters. Though, even if Mu Qingya was innocent, he still did not like her anymore. Regardless of whether Mu Qingya was at fault or not, it was a fact that she had almost dragged Laner down that he could not forgive her. Yet, he also had no excuse to punish her. Prince Min turned to look at little Nine. I didn't expect you to treat your sister like this. You are really vicious. Now, you're still excusing that it was Laner who was poisoned. Ridiculous. Sima Yin was somewhat dumbfounded. Mu Qingya said that the young man, who he had also seen before, liked her, but that young man's strength was also extraordinary. Even with just a glance, he could feel that the young man was quite powerful. Mu Qingya was saying that the young man had taken an interest in her? That was ridiculous. Chapter 2185. The past life, 110 who would let go of such an excellent girl as the Ninth Emperor and go for her. With a smile on her face, the Ninth Emperor calmly watched Mu Qingjia's performance. Then, a familiar voice came from behind her, softening her heart. Ninth Emperor, this voice was as gentle as it could be. Everyone glanced sideways, and after seeing the handsome young man in a snow-colored robe, the bottom of their eyes was filled with amazement. This young man, he looked too beautiful. Looking at such a handsome young man, Mu Qingya also lost her mind, but she quickly came back to her senses, bit her lip, and lowered her head, fearing that something might be discovered. However, Tian Xian, who was standing at the side, still saw the emotions she thought were well hidden. She sneered. This woman has quite the nerve to say that Nan Changfeng has taken an interest in her. It was so obvious that when she saw Nan Changfeng, she was like a hungry wolf seeing food. If not for the presence of so many people, she would not have hidden her emotions and would perhaps have pounced on him long ago. Ninth Emperor, I have prepared a meal for you. I came to look for you, since you have not returned after I have waited for you for a long time. The young man smiled gently, and his gaze was fixed upon the Ninth Emperor. The Ninth Emperor tiptoed and patted the young man's head. You go back and wait for me. Good boy. Nan Changfeng smiled, as warm as the spring breeze. Why should I go back first? He'll wait for you. Then we can go back together. Can we? No need. I'm afraid that some people's filthy words will hurt your ears. The Ninth Emperor smiled. She did not tell Nan Changfeng what Mu Qingya said just now, afraid that these words would disgust him. To her, Nan Changfeng was as pure as a white paper. This was also the reason why after so many days, even though they had slept several times in the same bed, she could not bear to lay hands on him. Nan Changfeng smiled gently. Don't worry. I can wait for you here, and later we will go home together. The Ninth Emperor gave a wink to Tian Xian. She wanted Tian Xian to take Nan Changfeng away first. Tian Xian did not move. She pursed her lips and was a little bit unhappy. Master, you're not as good to me as you are to Nan Changfeng. He is a man, not a child. Why can't you let him hear those words? It is obvious that he is so stunning that he attracts so many girls, and in the end, you have to take the blame instead. Me for extra chapters. Attracting girls? Nan Changfeng was stunned and lowered his head guiltily, rubbing his head against the Ninth Emperor's head. Sorry, Ninth Emperor. It is my fault. I shouldn't have looked too handsome. If the Ninth Emperor doesn't mind, why don't I destroy this face? The Ninth Emperor's face turned gloomy. But I like good-looking people. She liked good-looking people. That was why her girls were all beautiful. Back then, she had brought Nan Chongfeng back because of his beauty. Then, Nan Chongfeng smiled. I will still meet the ninth emperor with this face. If there are bad girls, I will go and chase them off so they cannot trouble you. The ninth emperor loves peace, so how can I let these people come and bother you? These two beautiful people were just like a divine couple. The crowd noticed that since the young man appeared, he only had eyes for little Nine alone. Not to mention Mu Qingya. He did not even look at others. It was like the others did not exist in his eyes. The jealousy in her was like ants gnawing at her heart, but she could not say anything, nor could she show it. Except for Tian Xian, who had been watching her, no one else noticed the flash of jealousy in her eyes. Tian Xian snorted. They did not like Nan Chongfeng because Nan Chongfeng had been bugging the ninth emperor, stealing time that belonged to them. But Nan Chongfeng was the ninth emperor's man. No one was allowed to peep at the ninth emperor's man. Master Chongfeng only has my master in his eyes, Tian Xian spoke with a cold smile. I wonder why you think Master Chongfeng likes you. Are you trying to make my master jealous? Tian Xian's words stunned Nan Chongfeng. He looked at Mu Qingya blankly, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Mu Qingya gritted her teeth and simply broke the jar in her hand. Because of my status. Sister, you may not know what kind of person he is. He wants to get power and nobility. That's why he has set his eyes on me. Once these words fell, not waiting for Nan Chongfeng and the ninth emperor to speak, Sima Yin could not help but laugh out loud. Stealing the power and nobility from you. Mu Qingjia's face sank, and Mu Yi's face turned gloomy. Princess Qing Luo's gaze was filled with anger. Sima Yin is really too much. Qingya is a noble lady. Is she not powerful? It's normal for people to want to cling to her. Sima Yin sneered. Don't they know who is the ninth emperor? One was this mainland goddess, while the one is only a noble lady. She said he wanted to steal the power and nobility? Ridiculous. The ninth emperor sighed and turned to Nan Chongfeng. I asked you to leave. See, now you have heard these things. In case you can't eat for a few days that you grow thin and starve, I will not be responsible. Nan Chongfeng pursed his lips. I may not be able to accompany you for a few days with meals, but you do not have to worry that I will starve. I can use the spirit herbs to grow fatter. If I become thin, I'm afraid you will not like me. His voice was a bit condescending, and the gaze he used to look at the ninth emperor was flooded with aggression. Me for extra chapters. Mu Qingya clenched her fists tightly. What did this Nan Chongfeng mean? Why was it impossible for him to eat? So many young men in Fengyan Kingdom like her. It was expected for Nan Chongfeng to fall for her. If he did not like her, there was no need to humiliate her like this. Mu Qingjia's smile faded. Then, it seems that I have misunderstood. After all, every time I went to meet my sister, you would always stare at me. I thought you liked me and that my sister had misunderstood. You suddenly acted differently in front of so many people. I did not expect you to say such things. Whatever your intention, I can't marry you, and I want to steal the person that my sister likes. There was no way she would let these people here have a chance to deny it. After the others heard these words, they somewhat understood the situation. It seemed that this young man was different in front of people. He did not want to be scolded, so he deliberately pretended to only like one girl. Such a person was more frightening. Prince Min frowned. I don't care what grudges you held before. This is my granddaughter's business. Little Nine, you hurt my granddaughter. Do you think I will easily let you go? No one could touch her granddaughter. Lulan was dumbfounded when she saw Nan Chongfeng. She was almost staring at his figure. Chapter 2187. The Past Life 112. Nan Chongfeng frowned as he seemed to be aware of her gaze. He looked slightly unhappy. That displeasure quickly turned into cold, because he had already seen that woman walking toward him. Qingya is loyal. She already has someone she likes. She can't accept you. So how about you follow me back? Later, Prince Min frowned. Lulan pursed her lips. Grandfather, he is the best-looking man I have ever seen. I don't care if he's trying to steal power or is greedy for wealth. It is not like we can't afford to give them to him. Anyway, I want to marry him. I almost died just now. So, shouldn't you just make it up to me? Prince Min was helpless. Fine, fine. After I settle the matter here, I will arrange an engagement for you later. Just as he said that, he saw that the snow-colored rogue young man had already let go of little Nine's hand and was walking toward his granddaughter. Prince Min had some disdain in his eyes as he sneered. Look, as soon as he heard that someone from the imperial family was willing to accept him, he immediately abandoned little Nine. This man is simply useless except for his good looks. When will my granddaughter be able to have some brains like Mu Qingya and not be confused by beauty? Just as Prince Min wanted to look away from the young man, that young man set off a fierce wind, and with a boom, it blew Lu Lan away. Lu Lan had previously suffered a kick to her chest. Her head was still hurting from after little Nine threw her. With this fall, her bones felt like they were about to break. Tears were streaming down her face. Prince Min turned and saw his granddaughter falling to the ground and growled, "Nan Changfeng, what are you doing?" Nan Changfeng glanced at Prince Min coldly. He gradually raised his hand. At that moment, a powerful force came crashing down. Prince Min, who was the strongest in the people's eyes, fell aside with a loud thud and was spitting blood, without any ability to resist Nan Changfeng's attack. The street once again was quiet. Everyone stared dumbfoundedly at the young man, with a shock in their eyes. This is not like a person who wanted to cling to power and nobility. Young Lady Lu Lan is willing to take him. So why does he still attack her? Is it because Lu Lan is not as excellent as Qingya? Perhaps he likes Qingya because he saw Qingjia's excellence, not because of her status. But noble lady has misunderstood and said that he wanted to steal the power and nobility from her. Mu Qingjia's face turned pale as she looked at Nan Changfeng, stunned. At this moment, her body trembled slightly. Nan Changfeng could defeat Prince Min? Me for extra chapters. How can such a person be on little Nine's side? She really could not understand this. To her, a person like little Nine did not deserve such a man. At this moment, someone spoke. That elegant and stunning voice was like a heavy rock, smashing everyone's heart. Mu Qingya, I have allowed you to leave the emperor's son-in-law's manor not for you to find trouble with little Nine. A handsome and dignified man in a purple robe rushed from behind the crowd. The moment she saw Di Ming appear, Mu Qingjia's face turned even paler. She had made sure that Di Ming had gone out today before she made her move, but why did he come back? Desperation surged her mind. She and Princess Qing Luo exchanged glances, but both saw panic in each other's eyes. Di Ming's return was unexpected, and that made their heart beat faster. Chapter 2188. The Past Life 113-inch Master D. Why is Master D here? Isn't he Mu Qingjia's future husband? Why is he helping little Nine? I heard that Master D and little Nine are childhood friends. So, they must have had a good relationship in the past. Now that little Nine is back, have they rekindled their childhood romance? What about Noble Lady? Will she be abandoned? Nan Changfeng fell in love with Noble Lady, and little Nine is jealous. So she must have secretly tried to seduce Master D. Such a woman is not worth Master D's cherishing. Future husband, these few words made Di Ming's face darken. He hurriedly looked at little Nine, afraid that she might misunderstand again. However, little Nine's gaze was locked on Nan Changfeng and did not look at him at all, making his heart gradually turn cold. He turned to look at Mu Qingya. His face was cold and sullen, not giving her any chance. How could the person who fell in love with little Nine still have a feeling for you? Although Nan Changfeng displeases me, and he pesters little Nine all day long, yet I don't think that he will ever fall for you. The man sounded sarcastic, and the cold aura made Mu Qingjia's heart tremble. Mu Qingya closed her eyes in pain, and her whole body trembled incessantly. This was in public, but Master D still dared to embarrass her. His heart was only for little Nine alone. In fact, Di Ming raised his gaze. His voice was cold. You do not deserve to be compared with little Nine. You are not worthy, and you are not qualified to be compared at all. And I am not your future husband. I have never promised you anything and never agreed to it. These words, like a thunderstorm, made everyone present dumbfounded. Even Prince Min was stunned. Earlier, facing Sima Yin, he was in no way conceited, but the person in front of him was Master D. He was the strongest person in this kingdom. The person that even the emperor did not dare to offend. If he wanted to protect Little Nine, then Prince Min clenched his fists tightly. He felt very reluctant as he looked at Little Nine angrily. Changfeng, you wait for me here. The ninth emperor smiled at Nan Changfeng as she took a step toward those in front of her. Nan Changfeng did not move. He quietly stared at the ninth emperor's figure with a smile, and his eyes were filled with tenderness. Me for extra chapters, as if the ninth emperor would never care for Di Ming, much less to take a glance at him. She walked straight up to that physician from Mu Manor. It's fine if you do not tell the truth, but later I will ask Sima Yin to go to the palace and find another physician to come over to check her body. After all, that toxin has not been removed yet, so it can still be discovered. She smiled threateningly. She had said that no one could accuse her. Initially, with her strength, it would have been easy to deal with these people, but she was unwilling to blame people, and only when the blames were settled could she do so. The physician was stunned, and panic flashed in his eyes. Who knows if what you just gave her to drink was poisonous? The smile in the ninth emperor's eyes grew brighter. It does not matter. When she is poisoned, the other physician can also find out. If it is proven that you are involved in this attempt to kill her, then these words completely made that physician panic. He flopped onto his knees, his face pale. The ninth emperor was right. Any random physician could easily diagnose it. The reason why he had dared to say that earlier was because of the trust that Prince Min had in the emperor's son-in-law's family. Prince Min would not have thought that someone from the emperor's son-in-law's manor would want to frame Little Nine. A random person could easily find a reason, based on the emperor's attitude. It was already apparent that Prince Min was someone he could not afford to provoke. Prince Min, please spare my life. Prince Min, spare my life. It was noble lady Mu Qingya who ordered me to do so. She asked me to follow the emperor's son-in-law here. I also could not say that Lu Lan is poisoned and could only say that she had an internal injury, or else she will kill me. Prince Min, I beg you to spare my life. I did not mean to do so. These words were shocking. The people present were confused for a while. Mui's brain buzzed blank, his gaze stunned, looking at the physician, and for a long time, he could not come back to his senses. Silence. The whole street was quiet and silent. Even Prince Min's neck was a little stiff. He turned around, dazed, and his gaze fell upon Mu Qingya's body. Just now, the Mu family physician said that Laner was poisoned, but Mu Qingya already knew that she was poisoned, so she ordered the physician to lie? But how did Mu Qingya already know that Laner was poisoned? Unless she's the one who gave the poison. Prince Min's expression changed dramatically, and his eyes were filled with anger. Mu Qingya took a long time to come back to her senses. Then, she flew over to that physician and tugged his lapel. Her voice was all tinged with grief and pain. Why do you want to frame me? Is it because of my sister? I said long ago that I was willing to take responsibility for her. But I can't tolerate her setting me up like this just to push the blames back at me. In this last sentence, she was hissing it out, causing everyone around her to freeze. Looking at Mu Qingya's expression, she looked like she was wronged, grief-stricken, and with disbelief. She probably also did not believe that Lu Lan was poisoned. It was hard to say. However, Di Ming was protecting Little Nine. She certainly would not die with his protection. Perhaps then, she would also find this physician later to settle stuff. The physician rebellion was also normal. Prince Min, every word I said is true. Undoubtedly, noble lady asked me to lie. Lu Lan is poisoned. If I do not say it is an internal injury, noble lady will not let me go. Please, Prince Min, forgive me. The physician kowtowed frantically. Panic and fear filled his voice. Me for extra chapters. Prince Min slowly closed his eyes. His body was trembling. After half a second, he opened his eyes and turned to Mu Qingya. Mu Qingya, tell me, is what he said true or not? Mu Qingya slowly released her hand and staggered to stand up from the ground with a bitter smile and a resolute look on her stunningly beautiful face. If my sister says I did it, then I did it. She gradually closed her eyes until a long time before she opened them and looked at the ninth emperor. I know you want me to take the responsibility. Fine. I will take all the responsibility as long as you are happy. As long as you're happy. Tian Xin's eyes widened. She had never seen anyone that could say these words so righteously. And only Mu Qingya was able to be shameless to this extent. It was an eye-opening experience for her. The ninth emperor squeezed Nan Changfeng's hand and smiled faintly, indicating that he did not have to do anything. She could handle things on her own. After calming Nan Changfeng down, she walked toward Mu Qingya. Chapter 2190. The past life 115. As she approached Mu Qingya, her cold aura grew heavier with strong oppression. Mu Qingya was afraid to the point that she could not even say a word as shock filled her gaze. As if a hand was around her neck, she felt very uncomfortable that she almost suffocated. Mu Qingya's face was pale, and she could not help but take a few steps back. Her body trembled, and the panic in her eyes was so obvious. Do you think you are worthy for me to frame you? She raised her hand and pulled Mu Qingya up. A cold smile grew on her face as her eyes darkened. Qingya. Princess Qingluo looked at the ninth emperor and screamed angrily. You! Let go of Qingya. Let go of her immediately. Someone go and kill her. Kill her for me. Mu Yi's body trembled. He still trusted Qingya more than Little Nine. Qingya could not possibly do something like poisoning and framing others. Little Nine, let your sister go. Let her go. His voice was filled with pain and hatred. The ninth emperor smirked and did not even look at others. Her gaze was fixed upon Mu Qingya. Indeed, Sima Yin smiled as he stepped forward and slowly walked toward the ninth emperor. With her ability, if she didn't like someone, it would be impossible for her to accuse her. Rather, she would kill her. Mu Yi looked at Sima Yin incredulously. Sima Yin was from Feng Yun Kingdom, but how could he be so indifferent to the danger Qingya was in? General Sima, Little Nine is indeed powerful, but our Feng Yun Kingdom is not weak either. He also seemed to want to argue badly, wanting to let Prince Min know that there was no way Qingya would do such a thing. The responsibility was still on Little Nine. He was in pain. Even if he could not let go of Little Nine, he had to make a choice. After all, this disaster was brought by Little Nine, and she could not let others be punished for her. Sima Yin sneered. He looked around and saw that there were already many people who came to watch, so he held back his words. There were too many people here. He had no way to say it. Me for extra chapters. But he turned to look at Princess Qingluo, sneering. Princess Qingluo has too many things that she hides from you. Mu Yi, no matter how many times we fight, I still admire you as a great person. Just later I realized that you're only a stupid man used by others. Sima Yin gradually turned to Prince Min again. I hope you will not be too stupid like him. Otherwise, you will become the sinner of the entire Feng Yun Kingdom. Become the sinner of the entire Feng Yun Kingdom? It was the first time that Prince Min heard such a serious assumption from Sima Yan's mouth. Perhaps Prince Min had now calmed down quite a bit and was not as overwhelmed by anger as he was at the beginning, or maybe he was not as convinced of Mu Qingya as others. So what the physician said still made him slightly suspicious. Just this suspicion was still somewhat faint. Compared to Mu Qingya, Little Nine also was not trusted so much by the people. General Sima, if you have something to say it immediately. He demanded coldly. Sima Yin sneered. About this, you should ask Princess Qingluo. In an instant, all eyes turned to Qingluo. Seeing those gazes upon her, Qingluo gritted her teeth and blushed embarrassingly. I don't know what you're talking about. It's already obvious. If Maiden Mu does not like someone, she will not frame her, let alone still allow her to have a chance to be alive. Sima Yin turned to look at Lulan. You almost died just now by the hands of Mu Manor's physician. It was Maiden Mu who saved you. Little Nine? Saved me? Lu Lan was stunned. She stiffened and turned to look at the Ninth Emperor. Perhaps Nan Changfeng's behavior just now was so brutal that she had lost the feeling she just had toward him. After all, she was Prince Mint's granddaughter. She could get any man she wanted. Why should she suffer the wrath of a man? Even if this man was beautiful, his character was too cruel. She did not want to marry a man like this. If Mu Qingya did not say Nan Changfeng was greedy for power and prestige, she couldn't want to marry him so quickly. So, just after that, Lu Lan's chest was about to explode, and she naturally did not look at Nan Changfeng again. At this moment, her gaze was locked upon Little Nine. Her face was pale, and her body was trembling. Sima Yin also said that she was dying. However, just now, no one said to her that it was Little Nine who saved her. This woman was vicious and sinister. So how could she have saved her? Grandfather, was it her who saved me just now? Lu Lan bit her lip and asked. Prince Min seemed conflicted, but he had never liked to lie. No matter how she treated Lu Lan before, Little Nine did save her life as well. So, he nodded and said, it was she who fed you something unknown that saved you. Lu Lan shook her head. Impossible. Qingya said Little Nine is vicious. Why would she still save people? I don't believe it. Qingya can't possibly. She just wanted to say that Mu Qingya could not possibly lie to her. Me for extra chapters. Suddenly, recalling Nan Changfeng's attitude, it was difficult to hold back what was on the tip of her tongue. If Qingya lied, it meant that this young man was not a power-hungry person. Otherwise, he would accept the power of Prince Mint's manor rather than the Emperor's son-in-law's manor. So why did he not like her? The Ninth Emperor glanced at Lu Lan coldly, and then looked back to Mu Qingya. With the force of her fingers, she strangled Mu Qingya's neck. That feeling made Mu Qingya almost suffocate. Her face was red, and her breathing grew heavy. Mu Yi said in distress, Little Nine, let your sister go, didn't you hear? The Ninth Emperor ignored him. Her fingers once again, with a slight force, tightened around Mu Qingya's neck. Mu Qingya's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. Anxiously, Princess Qing Luo tears flowed. Old Lady Mu rushed over from the back with her cane, and what she saw at a glance was the Ninth Emperor fiercely strangling Mu Qingya. She cried in grief. Mu Yi, can't you see that little bastard bullying your daughter? Why don't you hurry up and go beat this bastard to death? Her body trembled with anger as she hit the ground with her cane fiercely. Earlier, it was the people of the Mu family who told her that something had happened outside. So, she hurried over, not knowing what had happened, and what she saw was Mu Qingya bullied by this little bastard. Mu Yi was here again. How could he let the wild girl bully Qingya? Was it Mu Yi's connivance? So, her cane fell fiercely upon Mu Yi's body, and her voice was filled with anger. Go on. Do you want to go against your mother? I asked you to get rid of the wild girl before, and you didn't, and now you allow her to bully your daughter. Don't forget that without Princess Qing Luo, you wouldn't be here today. Perhaps because of regret, Mu Yi did not dodge her attack. He allowed the cane to fall on his body fiercely. He closed his eyes in sorrow. If he had made Little Nine leave earlier, these things would not have happened. As for what Sima Yin said, he did not take it to heart. Qing Luo could not have something to hide from him. After all, Qing Luo was so in love with him. You let Mu Qingya go first. Prince Mint's voice was hoarse as he said in a deep voice. No matter who was trying to harm his granddaughter, he would not let go. But now was not the time for Little Nine to threaten Mu Qingya. She had to let her go first. Sima Yin shook his head and laughed bitterly. With these people, how would Fengyan Kingdom not be ruined? They were foolish. At this moment, a figure hurriedly came from behind the crowd and walked straight up to Prince Min. Prince Min. This was an old man, and everyone knew him. He was the physician of Prince Mint's manor. This physician was so skilled in medicine. When the emperor offered him to become an imperial physician, he refused. Prince Min had saved his life, so he stayed in Prince Mint's manor. He did not expect that Prince Min would invite him here. Mu Qingya bit her lip hard. Her body trembled. and her pale face was filled with horror. Of course, no one knew that her panic was due to this physician and not because of little Nine's current behavior. In their hearts, Mu Qingya was pure and kind. It was impossible that she would do such a thing. So this must all be little Nine's behavior to shirk responsibility. Therefore, seeing this physician appeared, their eyes widened, watching the good show, and they even looked at the ninth emperor contemptuously. Mu Yi did not see Qing Luo and Qinji's faces, so he was quietly relieved. Fortunately, Prince Min was not overwhelmed and brought this physician. Otherwise, he was afraid that Qingya would be wronged. He did not know if the emperor's son-in-law's manner mistreated this physician or what, causing him to betray Qingya to protect himself. After this matter was taken care of, he would not let go of this physician when he returned. Prince Min looked at the old man in front of him. You can examine young Lady Liu's body to see if she has been poisoned before. Me for extra chapters. Yes. The old man slowly stepped forward and raised his hand to touch Lu Lan's wrist gently. After half a second, a flash of surprise flashed in his eyes, and he let go of her hand. Young Lady Lu has indeed been poisoned. These words were like a heavy stick that smashed into everyone's heart. Mu Qingji's body trembled even more. Even before this physician came, she was still holding on to a slight fluke. Since Lu Lan was fine, it proved that the toxin had been lifted, and there was no way to find out about the poison. So earlier, Little Nine's words were intended to deliberately blow up the physician of the emperor's son-in-law's manor. Yet, what she had not expected was that traces of the poison could still be found. Of course, Little Nine had saved Lu Lan, so she did not want to blame others. She would not cure her of the toxin completely and had left a small trace of it in her. It would not be so much to make Lu Lan get killed, but her life from now on would not be too good. Since she had been used, it was also time to pay the price. Chapter 2193. The past life 118-inch. You just said that Laner was poisoned? Prince Mint's eyes were filled with disbelief. Laner had been poisoned, so it meant that Little Nine's kick would not have killed her. It was because someone had wanted to use Lu Lan against Little Nine, and as a result, it almost killed his precious granddaughter. And that physician sighed lightly. This poison is a potent poison. I do not know what cure you have used to detoxify her of it, but usually the poisoned person would certainly die. Die? Prince Mint's eyes narrowed as he panted. The physician nodded slightly. Yes, the toxin is extracted from the mandala. It is a potent poison. It would take effect within an hour. The person will not die immediately, but the time of her death will not be too slow either. So I do not know what young lady has taken to cure the poison. Within an hour? Then that meant Laner was poisoned 1 hour ago. What was she doing an hour before? She met Mu Qingya, and that Mu Qingya was complaining to her about being bullied. Laner is close to Mu Qingya. Since Mu Qingya was bullied, she would certainly not be quiet about it. That was why she ran over to settle accounts with Little Nine. She then was kicked by Little Nine, when she also happened to be poisoned and almost died. Prince Min looked up. His bloodshot gaze was fixed upon Mu Qingya. His eyes were filled with anger. Mu Qingya. He gritted his teeth before he uttered these words. Mu Qingya trembled hard as she breathed laboriously with panic in her eyes. Mui also froze. He turned to Mu Qingya, horrified. Impossible. Qingya has always been good-tempered, gentle, and kind. So how could it be possible for her to poison Lu Lan? Therefore, he gritted his teeth and stood up. Prince Min, there must be some misunderstanding. There is no way Qingya would do such a thing. Me for extra chapters. When Little Nine was misunderstood just now, he did not say a word in defense. Now that it was Mu Qingya instead, he panicked and started to explain on her behalf. It was ridiculous that he still kept thinking that he owed Little Nine. Misunderstanding? Ha ha ha. Prince Min laughed angrily. Your emperor's son-in-law's physician told me that what he said before was not true. But now, this is Prince Mint's manor's physician. Are you going to tell me that what he said is also a lie? His breathing grew heavy, and he questioned sternly, gritting his teeth. The physician became angry, stood up straight, and looked at Mu Yi. Does this mean that what I said is not true? Since you think my words are false, then let the imperial physician in the palace determine to see if what I said is true or not. You can find as many people as you want, but it will not change the fact that she was poisoned an hour ago. Mu Yi's body stiffened, and his clenched fists were trembling. I remember. Lulan finally came back to her senses. She looked at Mu Qingya in disbelief. When she came, she brought me a bowl of soup. I was still wondering, for what reason did she make soup for me? However, she never thought that Mu Qingya would even harm her just to get a little nine. They were friends. Lulan closed her eyes sorrowfully. Her heart was aching, knowing the fact that she almost died just now. It was hard to accept. Chapter 2194. The past life 119 old lady Mu had been frozen for a while now. It was only now that she collected her thoughts and pounced over to tug at that physician. You must have been bribed by this cheap girl. She is the one who wants to harm people, not Qingya. This cheap girl has a vicious mind and is full of evil. The one who deserves to die is her. She deserves to die. What's wrong with Mu Qingya? What's wrong with the Mu family? The only one who keeps making a mistake is Little Nine. She deserves to die. The physician was a little angry and raised his hand to push the old lady to the ground. The old lady fell to the ground when she was caught off guard, and she cried out in pain like a child. You can't defend Little Nine and be so unreasonable. It's her fault. Why do you want to accuse Qingya? Who doesn't know that Qingya usually can't even trample ants to death? So why would she harm Lulan? It's impossible. It is all because of you. She pointed at the group of people in front of her. It's you guys who are helping Little Nine to harm Qingya, to drive Qingya away so that she can get into the... Before she finished her sentence, the ninth emperor had already walked up to the old lady, lifted her leg, and kicked her violently. She had kicked the old lady hard enough to knock her out of consciousness. As a result, everything went quiet. Mother! Mu Yi's eyes were red. He rushed toward the old lady and held the old lattice body up. His gaze was filled with grief and pain. Mother, what happened to you? Mother, do not scare me. Mu Yi indeed deserved the name of a filial son. At first, he was married to a woman he did not love due to filial piety. It could be seen how filial he was. Princess Qingluo's eyes flashed. She stepped up from the back and looked at Prince Min with a cold smile. Prince Min, you don't have any evidence pointing to Qingya, so you are not qualified to blame her either. One was the prince, and the other was the emperor's granddaughter. Therefore, even if he knew that Qingya did all these, he couldn't punish her. It was just that Lulan was too lucky not to die. Otherwise, would all these have happened? Prince Min's heart was filled with anger. Do you think I really want to do anything to kill her? My daughter is a noble lady. I am the princess of this kingdom. Princess Qingluo slightly raised her chin. She sneered. What rights do you have to make a move on us? Mu Yi's eyes were red. He slowly turned to Qingluo. Me for extra chapters. Qingluo, was it you guys who did this? He was still somewhat filled with disbelief and even felt despaired. Did Qingluo and Qingya do this? If this was the case, then they were destroying the emperor's son-in-law's manor. Princess, Sima Yin smiled as he stepped forward. Prince Min cannot get rid of you, but the emperor can. Qingluo sneered. I am his daughter, and I have not done anything to endanger his kingdom, so father will not hurt us. This was where her confidence lay. Sima Yin smiled faintly. Then, Princess can follow me to the palace to meet the emperor. Prince Min and Lulan can also follow along. After he said this, he turned to look at the ninth emperor. Maiden Mu, you and Nan Chongfeng can go home to rest. Don't worry, I will take care of these people for you. Don't bother yourself with any of this. Chapter 2195. The past life 120. The ninth emperor was indeed too lazy to care about these people. If she had time, she might as well find out the whereabouts of her mother sooner. With only a faint glance, she withdrew her gaze and turned to look at Nan Chongfeng. The moment she faced Nan Chongfeng, her gaze turned gentle. Let's go. Let's go home. It was a rare occasion that she wanted to go out for a spin, but who knew that she would run into these people from the Mu family, which would affect her mood. So, she might as well head home and wait for dinner. Nan Chongfeng smiled, and he nodded slightly. All right. However, before he left, he looked back at these people from the Mu family. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. However, he did not say anything before following the ninth emperor, leaving without looking at these people even once. Looking at the ninth emperor leaving, Mu Yi choked as he wanted to say something. However, he understood that he really had no gut to see her again after today's incident. Perhaps, without his involvement, Little Nine would live better than now after leaving Fengyan Kingdom. Therefore, Mu Yi did not say anything. He turned to Mu Qingya, his eyes filled with intense pain. This time, old Lady Mu was not sent back to the Mu family. Sima Yin called a few people to carry her and ordered coldly, "Bring them to the palace to see the emperor first." The first thing they needed to do was to go to the palace. At most, it was just a lecture, and she was not afraid. Mu Qingya pursed her lips. For some reason, looking at Sima Yan's appearance, she could not help but feel a slight panic. Therefore, she turned to look at Qing Luo and asked, "Mother, you don't have anything that you are hiding from me, do you?" King Luo's heart fell. "What? If you aren't hiding something from me, why is Sima Yin so confident?" Mu Qingya looked worried. "Me for extra chapters." Qing Luo was a little irritated. "I said no." "What? You don't even believe in your mother?" Seeing King Luo's face, Mu Qingya opened her mouth, but she did not say anything in the end. Sima Yin saw this situation. Qing Luo still refuses to tell these people about the warning that the emperor has given her. He sneered and did not say much. Turned to look at Prince Min. "You must also go with me to meet the emperor." Prince Min was very unhappy about Sima Yan's tone, but he knew that this time it was his fault for not getting the truth of the matter and almost killed an innocent. But if Little Nine had not made a move against Lu Lan, wouldn't everything have been fine? He would not have misunderstood, and maybe they would also have uncovered Mu Qingya sooner. In the end, Little Nine herself was also used by Mu Qingya. Mu Qingya had deliberately poisoned Lu Lan, so he would misunderstand and blame Little Nine. But this time, the emperor cannot defend you. He said that he would give justice to the ninth emperor. Now it was between Mu Qingya and Prince Min. One of them must pay the price. Chapter 2196. The past life 121. If he allowed the ninth emperor to take action, he was afraid that all these people would die mercilessly. That was why he finally said that. Even if they died, they would leave an intact corpse for them. Prince Min froze. He looked at Sima Yin in confusion, did not understand what Sima Yin meant by this. However, Sima Yin did not allow him to ask and had already stepped away. After seeing Sima Yin leave, everyone else followed. The few soldiers carrying old Lady Mu also followed behind him and went to the palace. As for Di Ming, after the ninth emperor left earlier, he hurriedly followed behind her. Only people sighing in the streets were left behind. This matter was done by Qingya, our noble lady. It can't be. Isn't Mu Qingya always kind, not even willing to trample ants to death, and the only one who treats her subordinates as human beings? But it has been so obvious, and there is no existence of any lies. I think this must be related to noble lady. Everyone could not imagine that Mu Qingya would do such a thing. She was the goddess of all people in Fengyan Kingdom, sincere and kind, pure as an immortal, altogether a fairy-like figure. Moreover, she and Lu Lan had always been in an excellent relationship. How could she even lay hands on young Lady Lu Lan to frame Little Nine? If that was true, what could she not do? Even regicide was possible at the Imperial Palace, inside the Imperial Study Room. A man in a yellow robe sat at the desk, flipping through the documents in his hand. Just then, the eunuch hurried in. "Emperor, General Sima is waiting outside." "Sima is here?" The emperor was stunned. "Let him in." Sima Yin always had nothing to come to him for, but now he was here. The emperor did not know what to expect. The moment Sima Yin walked in, the emperor froze. Behind him was a group of people. Mu Yi, Qing Luo, Mu Qingya, Prince Min, Lu Lan, and even Old Lady Mu was carried in? Me for extra chapters. The emperor was a bit confused as he froze and opened his mouth to ask, General Sima, what are you doing here? Why did you come into the palace with Prince Min? And what is with this emperor's son-in-law's family? Have I not given an order not to allow them to leave their residence? Did something else happen that he did not know about? The emperor was confused. A sense of unease subconsciously rose in his heart. This uneasiness made his heart beat faster, but then he calmed it. Emperor, Prince Min put his fist to his palm and said in a deep voice, Mu Qingya poisoned my granddaughter, Lu Lan. So please, do justice for Prince Min's manor. Poison Lu Lan? The emperor was even more confused. How could Mu Qingya have poisoned Lu Lan? Wasn't their relationship very good? Moreover, how could Mu Qingya do such a thing? The emperor rubbed his temples as he felt a headache coming. Is there some misunderstanding here? General Sima, tell me, what is going on? Hearing the emperor's words, Qing Luo seemed a little smug, and he glanced at Prince Min. See, even her father was saying that this must be a misunderstanding. This time, he would certainly not punish Qingya. And these people who wanted his mother to be punished would simply make a big mistake. Her father could not punish them. Old Lady Mu was also languidly awake. She just woke up to hear the emperor's words and immediately jumped up from the arms of those guards and glared at Prince Min. Chapter 2197. The Past Life 122-inch, that's right. It is not Kinji's fault. It must be a misunderstanding. It is little Nine. It is all her doing. This sentence made the emperor's head hurt. His face was pale, and his gaze was filled with panic. How did this relate to little Nine again? Mother, Mu, he shouted in a deep voice. This is the imperial study room. You must respect the emperor and not shout like this. His mother was used to being arrogant outside. Now, inside the imperial study room, she had still not changed. It was really humiliating to him. Fortunately, the emperor at the moment was focused on old Lady Mu's sentence about little Nine, so he overlooked this old lattice rudeness. He raised his head and looked straight at Sima Yin questioningly. Emperor, Sima Yin kneeled and smiled bitterly. It is what you think. This matter has something to do with Maiden Mu. Otherwise, I would not have come. The emperor felt weak and could not stand up straight. Related to little Nine? These words sounded like a thunderclap exploding in the emperor's heart. He tried to protect himself left and right, but he could not defend himself? Sima Yin, tell me immediately about the situation. He sounded stern and angry. Prince Min looked at the emperor in surprise and frowned. Why did the emperor's attitude change as soon as he heard that it was related to little Nine? Does the old emperor have interest in little Nine? Which is why Sima Yin said such word before. The more Prince Min thought about it, the more likely that seemed to be the case. His face darkened. Sima Yin smiled coldly. Mu Qingya gave poison to young Lady Lu Lan and fooled her by telling her that little Nine bullied Mu Qingya. So Lu Lan was upset and went to little Nine to settle scores. As a result, she was beaten up by little Nine. Me for extra chapters. Perhaps because he was too angry, Sima Yin did not even address her as noble lady, but instead he called Mu Qingya by her name. Little Nine kicked Lu Lan, who had been poisoned. Meanwhile, Mu Qingya ran to Prince Min's manor and brought Prince Min. Prince Min did not verify the truth and said that little Nine killed Lu Lan. Even that physician of the emperor's son-in-law's manor also concluded that Lu Lan had received a heavy blow before she fell to the ground, concealing the fact that she was poisoned. If I wasn't there, I am afraid that this would have gone out of hand. Prince Min is afraid that Lu Lan's life cannot be saved on the spot, but fortunately, little Nine has a kind heart. She saved her. Yet, after Lu Lan woke up, she also pointed the fault to little Nine and scolded her. Even more, these people still assert that it must be little Nine's fault. He stated all the things that happened then. The emperor's face changed dramatically after hearing these words. His face darkened. Even the anger in his eyes grew intense. How could he not be angry? The emperor's son-in-law's family was not allowed to go out to prevent them from causing trouble. But he did not know that these people would still try to find trouble with the Ninth Emperor. Had I known this, I should not have just confined you. I should have put all of you in prison or even killed you so that you would not cause trouble. Mu Qingya froze. She looked up at the Emperor blankly. Grandfather wants to beat and kill me for little Nine. Chapter 2198. The past life 123 inches that instant. Her heart went cold, feeling chilled by the Emperor's words, and she was even looking at him with some disappointment. She never thought that her maternal grandfather would make such a choice. He was her maternal grandfather, not little Nine. However, now he said that he would kill them for little Nine. Mu Qingya had never had such a cold heart, and now the Emperor had made her experience this feeling of being abandoned by her loved ones. Even her eyes showed pain. Father! Princess King Luo's eyes widened as she stared blankly at the Emperor. What do you mean? It's hard to believe that you also want to treat us like this for little Nine. I'm your daughter. You can't just care about your reputation. Shut up. The Emperor pounded the table heavily, storming up in anger. Why didn't you listen to my words before? What have I told you? Did you take it all seriously? I told you not to mess with little Nine. I told you not to mess with her. So why did you not listen to me? Now you brought this on yourself. King Luo's head exploded at that moment. She was shocked and took a few steps back, her eyes dull. She still did not understand why she could not provoke little Nine. She was just a little bitch. Such a person did not deserve to live. However, Mu Yi stiffened. He turned to King Luo with a blue face. Even his breathing was a little chaotic. Tell me, what did the Emperor say to you? Before this, Sima Yin had also mentioned it. He had pursued Qing Luo, but Qing Luo refused to say anything and said that Sima Yin had framed her. Now that the Emperor had said it himself, no matter how stupid he was, it was impossible not to believe in the Emperor's words. It seems that you did not tell them about what I said. The Emperor sneered and stood up. He looked around, glancing at this group of people coldly. Do you know the Ninth Emperor? Mu Yi's gaze was dull as he nodded his head. Everyone in this mainland knew the Ninth Emperor. However, compared to other powerful people, the Ninth Emperor was deeply popular and was the god in people's hearts. But why did the Emperor suddenly mention the Ninth Emperor? Me for extra chapters. Prince Min's heart also gradually surged out of unease. He clenched his fist, and his face was pale. The Emperor would not mention the Ninth Emperor for no reason, which meant that there must be something he did not know. Initially, General Sima did not allow you to go to bother Dongfangyu, because back then, she was taken away by the Ninth Emperor. The Emperor's face was cold and sullen. About this matter, I had mentioned it to Qing Luo. Not only the others, but even Mu Qingya also turned to Qing Luo, shocked. Her mother had never talked about it, so they still did not know that Dongfangyu and that Ninth Emperor had a relationship. Emperor, Prince Min trembled a little. Then, what is the relationship between Dongfangyu and little Nine? The Ninth Emperor was the most protective person, and everyone knew that. But what could Dongfangyu and little Nine have to do with each other? Why should she be mentioned? Qing Luo gritted her teeth. What relationship can there be? Who can guarantee that the Ninth Emperor has not driven Dongfangyu out after so many years? She is now little Nine's servant, that's all. Who said that Dongfang, you must always follow the Ninth Emperor? Yes, no one could guarantee that Dongfangyu is still following the Ninth Emperor. So her father could not punish her, his daughter, just because of Dongfangyu. That you're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.